Yo, what is good, my quick crypto family and my coin factory family? Welcome back once again to another daily crypto live stream. And we can see right now the markets are continuing their rally, their reversal after Friday and this weekend's crypto ghost black swan, if you will. We are now seeing Kaspa perform very well. So Beck's doing very well today as well. For the most part, things are looking green across the board, which is fantastic news. The stock market, the S&P 500, also has seen a very nice reversal or start of one after the weekend drop when the market was closed. We can see right now the stock market's up 1.41%. We'll see how high it goes from here. But we have heard some reassuring news. Apparently Trump will be meeting with Xi Jinping very soon, probably by the end of October, amongst some other big fundamental developments. And then we've got some big crypto updates as well for Kaspa, for the other assets, real world assets as well. All of that and more to get through in today's stream. So family, if you enjoy the content, be trying to do this stuff every single day, you know what to do. Leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe for more, and turn on that post notification bell so you are aware of every single time that I either post a video, like I posted one about an hour ago, if that, and equally every time we go live here as well. Furthermore, to check out and get some more insights, check out the free Discord community. Links to join are down below in the description on my homepage here as well. And you can find all the other links to the other affiliate links and other benefits as well, also down below as well. But I'll talk about that a little bit later on. With that being said, family, welcome back again, everybody, to the channel. We've got Kryptoni in here first. Welcome back, man. You're doing very well. Greg, just missing out, but welcome back again, bro. Hope you're doing very well. Buffalo Theory with the third. Crypto Gosu, just missing out with the fourth. Welcome back, bro. Been a minute, well, been 24 hours really. I haven't had it in a while. I know it's been a long time, but for the first time in a long time as well, I've gone live bang on my usual time, which is 8 p.m. BST. So I guess that's on me for always going live at random times between 8 to 10 my time. But I'm actually live on time this time. And the reason why also is because I'm aware that the Blockchain Banter crew, every Monday they go live at 9 p.m, at least for me, so an hour later. And I try my best not to clash with them because I know people here do also like what they provide in their stuff as well, so I don't want to clash too much with them. So I'm trying to get this hour done in the most efficient and least conflicting way possible. But yes, definitely a very committed mod. Kokoni is doing his due diligence, doing his duty. Thank you very much, brother. For that being said, though, family, welcome back again to the stream. As we get into the market chart, we can see Kaspa is actually performing relatively well. Andy A getting 100 Kaspa today. Very huge indeed. Love that stuff, brother. Keep stacking that bad, my man. We're at a discount price right now, so things are looking up. But we can see, and as Kryptoni had mentioned time and time again, just because we saw this massive ghost black swan with Kaspa, crashing, does not mean that Kaspa is not going to respect this long-term wedge pattern. That's been the case since May 2023 to the peak of July, August 2024. This wedge that's been forming. Kaspa can and should still respect that. We just saw a black swan, a ghost swan, an unexpected circumstance, which caused Kaspa to basically lose this level. But we can see Kaspa is trying to regain that. Bitcoin, since that massive liquidation, when it came down here, is currently up about 5% or something like that. Kaspa has come a lot more since then, but Kaspa managed to find a very strong support at 5 cents, which again, if you watch the videos I made recently and equally in these live streams, you would hear me saying time and time again for even months now, this has been a battle tested, proven, strong level of support for Kaspa. So despite the liquidation that came down to 1 cent here, we saw Kaspa come back up, find support around this 5.5 cent zone here, and now we're starting to see a rally. Of course, keep your wits about you, don't be emotional, be logical. We can still see pullbacks in the market. Pullbacks are inevitable no matter what, but we've seen a lot of bullish momentum for the past 3 days following the crash. Kaspa is now currently up about 12% or so, 16% since it found support at 5.5 cents and has actually tested this now resistance level of this wedge as well. And in my belief, in the not too distant future, Kaspa should eventually regain this level and then find this as a support instead, and then start trading between this zone again. Where exactly, again, we'll have to wait and see. You could end up taking into account it might be a smaller wedge for the time being, so we're looking more so around here. So Kaspa might end up retracing back into here and then making a definitive move probably up from here, but again, that's just TA. We'll have to wait and see. Ultimately, right now, everything depends on Bitcoin and Ethereum and the fundamental stuff regarding tariffs, regarding regulatory developments, regarding the government shutdown that's still ongoing, that despite typically being dovish, you know, at least it's dovish after the shutdown ends. It's good for the Fed. They tend to not be very dovish afterwards. While it's not coming out, while the shutdown is still ongoing, FUD is starting to rally because all the macro news that you tend to look at to determine how the markets are behaving, they're not really being published. So it's hard to determine what's happening right now from the market perspective or for the economy perspective. But Kaspa right now up 4.29%, valued at 6.42 cents, which is doing really, really well. And I'm hoping Kaspa will again keep testing and eventually surpass this level of resistance right now and become a support level for Kaspa. Bitcoin again up not really much today, 0.41, again touching on its own level of resistance right now at around 115k. Hopefully it can continue holding that. Worst case, Bitcoin comes back down to maybe 110k. Again, it's always possible, but I'm hoping that Bitcoin had found its absolute bottom here and equally found another bottom here as well, provided we don't get any more, again, catastrophes and anomalies in the market. ETH has actually done fantastic, very fantastic after that black swan. Came down 21% and then came back up. And now it's actually doing very well. Went from 4.3k to 3.4k and now up to 4.1k. It's only down about 5% or so, 3% even, pre-market crash, which is actually quite good. It's made a very good recovery, a good indication for altcoins, in all honesty. It's currently up about 12% in that time. And as you look at the dominance right now, which is going to be something we talk about quite a bit in this stream, dominance of Bitcoin has fallen off quite sharply. We saw a massive spike following that crash, but the dominance has fallen off, you know, back to the levels of 59% right now. It may continue in that fashion. Maybe it goes a little bit longer. Again, it's too early to say just now. We have to wait for more confirmation. We'll get more of that, I'm sure, throughout the rest of this week and this month in particular. I still think we'll end October, which October is actually where we're at right now. If you technically think about it, if you look at the overall market cap right now, is at 3.93 trillion. If you go and check it out on a closer time frame, and you go to where the beginning of October started, which was around here, you're sitting at around a 3.91 trillion. So actually just above it right now. So technically, we are already starting October again after the black swan. So I still think we'll continue to end higher this month, and then hopefully going into November will be a lot better as well. To quickly cover some other brief assets before we get into the introductions again, and then the fundamental news and then the Kaspa news and whatnot. So BEC up 4.75%, still trading within this wedge pattern right now, which is good for the BEC holders, and it's looking like, based on the recent catalyst coming through, which they did release recently from a partnership with World Mobile, and equally they're going to be getting a listing on Kraken Exchange in the next 2 days, or almost 1 day, I guess now. That could be a big catalyst for the BEC. I don't know if that'll be enough to let the BEC break above this level of resistance in particular. It's a very, very tough one, but also this wedge pattern as well. You might see the BEC rally up and touch that again, but that definitive move for the BEC is coming around mid-November, and I'm hopeful that it'll probably be one that goes upwards. Again, real world assets being a very, very key market that all the big money are paying close attention to right now. Ondu's in a similar boat. Ondu's got some very big announcements actually that I'll get into in a moment as well, which is very, very cool. In fact, Zebek had a new partnership today actually. I'll talk about that in a moment as well. And then Octa as well, again doing quite well, again touching that level of resistance around of the 0.44, currently at 0.42, up 3.2%. So the assets that are on the thumbnail on screen are performing quite well. The whole market's doing quite well. Tau has been going on an absolute tear recently. You know, I think it's right now the only asset, or the only one that I'm aware of, that has not just recovered from the market crash, it's rallied from it as well. Most have made a recovery and are either a little bit negative or quite neutral. Tau is up 20%. Tau's done fantastic. So Tau's on, those who are holding Tau, you know, you're probably quite happy if you bought that dip especially as well. It's done fantastic. And then you can look at that as well, also performing relatively well for the most part. But that being said, let's get into the fundamentals and then get back into the peasant truth once again. So to start off with, we've got this post here from the Kobe's letter. Again, we are fully aware that the market crash that has happened was nothing more than a misunderstanding. It was market manipulation, that the trigger for it was a misunderstanding from Trump and China, both of them together. As a result of it, though, we have seen a lot of backlash, right? A lot of backlash, a lot of people got hurt. Unfortunately, for us Caspians, one of the biggest faces in this space, being Christian Ludwig, was not didn't get out unscathed. He had all his Kaspa as collateral on Kraken for some light margin, and it was all wiped out 2 days ago, all of it. No one could ever imagine or even have time to react to altcoins dipping 80% in less than 30 minutes. It appears there was some funny social engineering and manipulation involved in this market-wide crash, and many like me lost their shirt. Of course, just putting the R in there for even with minimal 2x risk. So he lost a significant portion of his net worth just now, and he's still posting that. So yeah, it's a disgusting dog eat dog world in here. How there was some form of social engineering, some form of manipulation by the exchanges, or by an exchange, or by certain individuals, whatever it may be, but it was done by design. That is pretty evident. And unfortunately, people like Christian Ludwig and many others have been caught out by it. So my thoughts and prayers, of course, are with those people. You could argue that's the reason why, again, you don't want to keep anything on exchanges, put it in a cold storage. But it doesn't matter either way. It's been and done now. It's lessons learned. Hopefully you move forward. I'm sure Christian will come back better and stronger from this as well, but my heart does go out to this individual here. And then you've got kind of a build off from that, where we spoke about Dr. Martin Heifberg's post recently regarding the crash that was evidently some form of target attack to exploit the flaw in Binance's unified account margin system. Kaspa Onion makes a post here about how, how does Kaspa solve 900 problems? Talk about how, Kaspa fixes this as well. And Michael Sutton replies to saying that Kaspa doesn't solve 900 problems yet, but it apparently attracts people who want to fundamentally solve problems, and it provides new design spaces, e.g. fast parallel blocks, to tackle old problems. Still, we do indeed have a challenge of narrating Kaspa sharply and correctly. So, and the kind of takeaway from that is, Kaspa, I couldn't say for sure if Kaspa solves this right now, necessarily, but the benefit of Kaspa and its unique architecture is that everything is being put in place, or everything is already in place for Kaspa to solve a lot of the issues that is derived from centralization in the crypto space. The space went from being, Bitcoin being thought of having new sound money and decentralization, to then being warped into a centralized crypto company bonanza, if you will. And with the growth of Kaspa with unique architecture that can stick true to the original ethos of Bitcoin, of Satoshi Nakamoto, hopefully Kaspa can manage to rein in back this manipulative, corrupt plague that's come over crypto right now. And while Kaspa doesn't have all the solutions just now, again, Kaspa as an asset or as a protocol doesn't have the solutions, but the people who have the vision can leverage Kaspa and its protocol and its designs to end up creating solutions. Now, in regards to the crash, of course, we did see a post from Son Polinsky less than a day ago, 18 hours ago from this current stream, where he's mentioned that dear crypto, it starts and ends with transaction ordering. He has been digging / researching for a few years now into how to build a universal scheduler for transactions, one that isn't confined into real-time sequencing, but lets user pre-commit arbitrary conditional transaction logic baked on-chain into a sequencer rule. So the takeaway from this, as I made a kind of summary post off that, is my perception into crypto, as we should know, was always intended to cure finance. That's what Bitcoin was meant to be. Again, a hedge against the banks, to cure finance, the corruption that's deeply, deeply ingrained into the entire monetary system. But in more ways than just being a faster and cheaper form of payment. Crypto and Bitcoin was not there to be just faster and cheaper. It was also there to solve many, many more issues, to give everybody a more level playing field through decentralization. Now, unfortunately, Bitcoin can't do that because it's not scalable, but Kaspa, of course, can. So the solution, or the theory that Son Polinsky and the other devs are kind of calling upon right now, the programmable scheduler, sounds to me like the best and probably right now the only way to generally democratize opportunity and prevent the current centralization of profiting through MEV at the sequence layer. This is the next paradigm shift. That's kind of a trigger word, or not trigger word. What is a trigger word? Is that the right word? I guess I think maybe not trigger words and trigger warning, but trigger words like is It's like a word that like paradigm shifts the word. Like, you know, you've got tipping point, you've got flip the switch, those sort of like sayings. Paradigm shift, the next big word that kind of just coincides to the same thing about how what is being thought about, what is being theorized, developed, is going to change how we perceive this space forever. Now, this is not some Polinsky and saying, oh, praise some Polinsky. That's not even asked not to for it to be like that. He's just putting down a theory that he has been researching for some time, and he's calling upon the developers of the crypto space to see if we can come and make this a reality, to avoid potential ghost swans, black swans like we have just recently witnessed. Because, you know, as the market gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the opportunity for these exchanges get bigger and bigger and bigger as well. So they can do this more and more. So we need to have protections, you know, have some form of security in the way to prevent this sort of stuff. Now, that's a bit of the doom and gloom part of the stream. I apologize if it did sound that way, but that either way, reassuring stuff. Of course, short recap. We saw a big liquidation based on just purely misunderstanding. People who we may also know got liquidated, lost their net worth. Very disastrous stuff, unfortunately. Of course, it's a belief that Kaspa can fix this. Truth be told, probably not right now. And Kaspa, as a protocol itself, cannot fix this. But people who are smarter or people who have the vision can leverage Kaspa to fix these issues. And Son Polinsky is one that perceives it could be possible. Now, to move on to more reassuring news in regards to what's coming next for the market, we can see that apparently now the next meeting is confirmed. Trump and Xi Jinping are set to meet in Korea. Reuters also mentioned this as well right here, where apparently it was reported from Scott Bessent that they're going to be trying to meet in late October, which is going to be at the in South Korea at the wasn't that an event or something like that? I thought it was at a certain event, but either way they're going to be meeting in South Korea to try and de-escalate tensions over tariff threats in late October. So hopefully this will come to fruition, because if not, then it means you'll get the likelihood that November 1st you'll see the implementation of the tariffs, which is not ideal. So we'll have to wait and see how that comes to fruition. But I'm hopeful on it. So it's going to be meeting in Korea at the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum Summit in late October. So we'll see and pray that it does come to fruition, because if we do, then again that will mean, think about what happened in late October. Therefore, you've got the rate cuts that will be coming through most likely. So you get also the complete solution, if you will, and the tariff threat kind of alleviated. You'll probably just see an explosive, or the trigger for an explosive rally start coming through quickly enough, which would be really, really good news. But if we continue on here as well, in regards to the possibility of rate cuts, again, with the government shutdown still ongoing, it's really, really tough to ascertain what is happening in the market. You know, reports are not coming through properly. We don't get non-farm payroll. We get many other reports that aren't coming through. US government data may be impacted by the shutdown. Tentative events are subject to delays, revisions, or cancellations. So we don't see everything. However, we do have some big announcements that are still readily coming through, like reports from corporations, you know, and from like, you know, BlackRock, from Nvidia, their shares, their quarterly reports. But unfortunately, stuff that are very important for the potential of rate cuts, being the job market, we don't see that stuff. We have got a positive from Kobe's letter, though, that the US job market leading indicator is still deteriorating. The gap between Americans saying jobs are plentiful and hard to get fell to 7.8% in September, the lowest since 2021. This is the weakest reading in 8 years outside the 2020 pandemic spike. Historically, this measure has been a leading indicator for unemployment, suggesting higher jobless claims ahead. According to Moody's, there is no better predictor of changes in unemployment than this metric. So despite there not being the official reports, the non-farm payroll coming out, this is a metric that can be utilized for the time being as or something that maybe also used to help in making predictions based on the current job growth. And we can see right now the Fed will have no choice but to continue cutting rates, because the gap between the disparity between jobs available and people employed is just getting larger and larger. Despite the inflation concerns, which have been rising, the job unemployment has been rising more so as well. And the Fed did announce they're pivoting away from inflation and tariff concerns more so towards jobs. So this matters more than inflation. Inflation still matters, but not in the same capacity. And we can see as a result of that, we see the CME, the rate cut prediction, is sitting roughly at around 98.9%. It's pretty much guaranteed we're going to be getting rate cuts at the end of the month on the 29th of October. Maybe we end up seeing a 50 basis point cut, although people right now are not pricing in a 50 basis point cut. If we do see confirmation of such, you might see a bit of a pullback just before the rate cut, the FOMC meeting, because people tend to price in, basically buy the rumor, sell the news before the rate cuts come through, and then pump up a lot after that. We'll have to wait and see. But this is again what we're expecting right now, and then equally in December, we're expecting a 96% chance of another rate cut. So basically, we got a combined 97% chance of 2 more rate cuts this year, which is very, very big. And that will hopefully alleviate more pressure on the market, on the economy, and send the markets higher. Will it mean we go well into 2026 for the bull run, or do we end at Q4? It's tough to say right now. Sources suggest it's possible. We'll have to keep our eye on it though. We've got other sources like this as well, which are very, very important, which could potentially indicate an extended cycle in my belief, and I'll explain why. And then the Terra, White House closes to announcing Selig as CFTC chair nominee. So we are seeing progressive developments right now in this space, where the White House is said to be nearing a decision to pick the replace Brian Quintez as a nominee to lead the CFTC, and 2 sources close to the process says Mike Selig, chief counselor of the SEC Crypto Task Force, remains the administrator's top contender, which is quite good because he is pro-crypto, and that would be a big boost in confidence for this market as well. They're still actually trying to rebuild their 5-member commission, which would be a very, very big deal. Basically going back to what it should be, as opposed to just being the sole leadership of acting chair Caroline Pham. It comes as the industry group sets a pressure on the White House to nominate a crypto-friendly candidate following Quintez's ousting last month. And as crunch time approaches for Congress to pass the market structure bill that would expand the CFTC's rulemaking authority over crypto markets. So we'll have to see what happens in that regard as well. Again, Selig, who was a senior advisor to SEC Paul Atkins, the SEC chairman, that is a very, very big deal. Began his career at the CFTC clerking for the Commission Christian Carlo. So he's got excessive experience and evidently is very, very pro-crypto, which would be a great, great boost for our markets and the belief in this market from policymakers. And hopefully see more and more come through as well. You've got Stu Alderotti, the chief legal officer, Ripple, saying that there's no one better suited than Mike Selig to harmonize the SEC and CFTC on crypto and beyond, which is something that I do agree with, all things considered. In regard to watch out for this week, though, government shutdown still ongoing. We're approaching the 3rd week. So just again, while historically speaking, the Fed are very, very dovish after a shutdown, we are currently shutdowns typically only last 8 days. We're about to go into the 14th day of a shutdown. Or we are basically at the 14th day right now. Shutdown happened on the 3rd of October. So, we're about the 14th day or so. We're going towards week 3. We'll start in week 3. The largest shutdown in history was 35 days under Trump in 2018. The next one was back with Bush. And that was in the 20-day region, I believe. So, again, how long it goes on for is going to be very, very important. We can see evidently this negotiations still remain at a standstill, with Republicans basically putting up pressure on Democrats over missed military pay and federal layoffs. So this is, historically good once the turning happens, once the shutdown comes to an end. But for the time being, FUD's going to still be rallying, and that may further delay a significant market rally. It might therefore mean you see the markets get more dovish, and once the shutdown ends, you then hopefully start seeing a lot more of a sharp rise upwards. For those who are unaware, the supposed golden number would actually be 61 days of a shutdown. The reason why is because after 61 days, Trump has the legal authority to just dismiss all furloughed employees. So right now, with the shutdown, hundreds of thousands of employees have been furloughed. So they, they're basically not working. After 61 days, they can just be let go, meaning that you're going to free up a lot of capital. Now, that of course, the backlash is that those people therefore will be unemployed, and that does break my heart as someone who I'm believing quite a humane person, so I don't want people to be unemployed. To argue on the flip side, it means you'll see more capital alleviated, more freeing up for liquidity, and that could end up benefiting the markets as well. And apparently, it would put the federal budget into the surplus overnight. which would be quite a big deal for the markets. Market structure bill, another big thing as well. Have seen a bit of a lag with that as well after the Democrats leaked DeFi proposal. So they now remain in a limbo. So we haven't got anything definitive in that regard right now. We'll have to keep a close eye on that. But things are starting to become increasingly hopeful, is how I'm going to put it right now. And as these developments still take longer and longer to come through, this for me, based on the other institutional sentiment that I have talked about briefly and even provided to my VIPs, this to me increases the possibility the cycle does extend past 2025. You might see a pullback with bears trying to push the market into a bear cycle because that's what typically happens, but the macro cycle is extending and going into 2026. So you might see the cycle for crypto and stocks, everything extend further on as well, as we are now in middle of October, going into almost middle of, well, going past the first quarter of Q4, and we haven't seen any significant rally just yet. And these rallies normally take a few months, if not even a little bit longer. And you think about what happened to Solana last cycle, rallied from August up into November, December. So you had 4 or 5 months of rallying, and we haven't had any significant rally, anything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. So we could have a lot longer to go, maybe Q1 2026, maybe a little bit longer. But of course, that's not financial advice. It's just my own theory I'm playing with right now. Do your own research. If you want to find out more, again, check out the VIP, but I'll talk about that again a little bit later on in a moment. To get some more questions though, before we get into the big Kaspa and crypto content, Greta, welcome back, bro. You're doing very, very well. Double D, again, welcome back, my man. You're doing very well, brother. Future dictator, all you're saying is complete cope. No idea what you're referring to right now, because I said quite a lot, of course, since you said that. The cope in regards to this, maybe? Or the meeting, probably not that. Probably the cope in regards to Kaspa solving problems, I'd imagine you're saying about. And I clarified that right now, Kaspa does not solve these problems. People can leverage Kaspa to solve the problems, which is what Michael Sutton is saying here. And so Polisky put down a proposal about the so-called solution and how to end this sort of ghost black swan event ever happening in the future. It ends with transaction ordering. That's not cope. Although I couldn't debate with you why that's not cope. Some Polisky's a man is smarter than me, so he's got deeper insights than I do as well. Talk about Nate Hart, bro, you're doing very, very well. So he says, gang, where you're at, who knows? Hopefully never again. Welcome back, Dimitar, bro. Future Crypto Elite is here. Good to have you back, brother. Andy A, didn't I tell you about Octospace a long time ago? Yes, you did, brother, you did. And my stance on it is still, for the most part, the same, which is, I think Octospace as a project does sound very, very interesting, but its lack of listings will make it sufficiently hard for it to actually have any significant rally in the cycle. You don't need listings, but you do. Sounds counterintuitive or counterproductive, but like Kaspa, for example, I don't think it needs Binance, Coinbase, OKX to perform well this cycle. Or at least, if it had them, it performed a hell of a lot better. Don't get me wrong. Binance lists Kaspa, it soars leaps and bounds. Without it, I think Kaspa can still perform well. It'd just be a lot harder. And it probably wouldn't rally as high as we think. Obviously, because it's got lack of adoption. With Octospace, it has CoinEx, Gate, and Mexi. That's the main listings it has. And then you've got, Uniswap and PancakeSwap as well. But like, it hasn't got many listings. So the amount of adoption Octospace can get is a lot smaller. Now, it is trying to leverage Kaspa and Zebek. Those partnership with those protocols and those projects might help it out as well. But it needs some more listings, in my belief, just to have a bit more exposure. But as a project, I think Octospace is interesting. And it seems to be cooking more and more as well. So I'm keeping an eye on it. But I haven't decided to put any capital in it right now. And if I do, it will probably be a very, very tiny bag. Because again, the risk to reward for Octa for me right now is quite high. Just because it hasn't got any form of exposure. Kaspa at least has higher exposure for me, Welcome back, Nate Hart, bro. I already said that. You're triggered. I'm sure you are. Not sure why, but I'm sure you are. Welcome back, Stack Bundles, bro. What's good, my man? You're doing very, very well. I'm also doing well, brother. We got Jojo back in as well. Bought the dip and still here for the long haul. Great stuff, man. Keep it up. We see that people are fed up or lost money because of the number of live views. Yeah, I can see that right now. I mean, it also could be because I have kind of shifted from only showcasing Kaspa in the thumbnail to kind of showcasing more assets, and some people when they tend to look at content creators or whatever, they tend to all solely focus on just one asset. So, of course, I was mainly Kaspa, and I still am mainly Kaspa. Still the thing I talk about the most and I believe in the most. But the thumbnail should always just be Kaspa. And now it's I'm trying to make a transition. Well, I'm still talking about Kaspa the most, transitioning into talking about some other assets here and there, because I started this as being quick crypto, not quick Kaspa, you know. So I'm trying to actually go back to that a little bit, while still sticking true to the true belief I have in crypto and Kaspa as well. But yeah, a lot of people right now are fed up, most definitely, hence why their live views are a lot smaller than usual. And it also could be, again, because I'm not only showcasing Kaspa right now, people are like, okay, well, I don't want to see about other coins, just want to see about Kaspa, so they don't bother clicking on, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, this channel is an educational channel. I try and to just inform people about what's happening in the market regarding crypto, Kaspa, everything else as well. So they want to learn, they come in, and once the market makes that recovery, which I'm sure it will do, again, we're just starting Q4. And we actually are up in Q4 since it started, believe it or not. It doesn't seem like it after the liquidation, but we are. But yeah, I'm sure people will come back when the markets are looking a bit more euphoric. Again, most investors never make it because all they do is chase candles. All they do is care about price. They don't bother to look at what is really being built. I made that post based on the documentation that I provided to my VIPs a few days back, or yesterday. The post from Signum Bank, which highlights that price volatility and regulatory implications dominate the public discourse. The price right now is struggling. People are not happy about it. That's why people are now not bothering. They're fed up. But these are only surface level distractions in what is becoming the foundational layer for the next generation of financial market infrastructure and innovative technology. In short, price is important, but if you only care about price, you're being purposely distracted and ignoring what actually matters. Price is important. I never said price is not important, but what matters more so is the utility, which will help drive the price. As I mentioned in the post here, price lags utility. Utility is what matters, and the adoption that comes with the utility, which hopefully would follow. So, you know, people will come back when the price rallies. People are like that. The real investors, hopefully, those who will hopefully make it, are the ones who are following utility and researching what's happening. Again, if you want to find that sort of stuff out, again, you can check out the VIP. Find a lot more in-depth insights in there from weekly live streams. We do some trades there, spot buying, trade alerts as well, stuff like that as well. And again, alpha documentation, interviews from industry leaders, and much more we provide in there as well. Draw free for 7 days, 7-day free trial, or equally for a month, signing up to BYDFI, the affiliate exchange. Links down below in the description. No KYC, no VPN exchange. They actually are currently doing a 30% deposit cashback due to the recent crypto crash. They said you will do a 30% deposit cashback. So basically, if you were to deposit $10,000 into BYDFI, you'd get $3,000 back. So only depositing 7K basically, therefore. So if you want to participate in that, check my affiliate link down below in the description, or better still, check out the free Discord server and you'll find all information in there, and you can get involved basically. And at the same time, by doing that, you get a 1 month free shot to this as well. So if you want any help with that, again, reach out to me on Discord and I help you out whenever possible. And you level up your trading game and learn a lot more about what's coming to the space. So we are prepared for what is going to still be, in my belief, the strongest market rally we have seen ever in crypto. The Great Wealth Transfer starting imminently, if not already started. But yes, Double D, you're right. If you enjoy the content, family, then leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. I'm being here as much as I can be. I mean, those who remember the recent events, the market crash shutdown, I tuned in at 2 a.m. my time, I think it was, or something like that. I mean, some tuned in and they were 3 a.m. where they were living in. So, you know, kudos to those who tuned in at ridiculous hours like me, who went live to kind of be informed and understand what's happening in this space right now. But I try to be here. I mean, I have been here through many, many downs and the ups as well. And I plan to be here for the indefinite future as well. So you enjoy the content, show the support, the love, and feel free to leave a like, help you out more than you know. When we're talking again in the year, we'll have a good laugh about this. Oh yeah, 100%. No doubt in my mind that in a year's time, we'll all be laughing and laughing and laughing about what's happening and what had happened as well. Yeah. If you appreciate me, check me out. Affiliate links, the Discord as well. All information in the Discord, it's in the description and on my homepage as well. And again, the free trial for the VIP. I couldn't recommend the free trial enough. If you want to continue signing on, that's completely up to you. But I couldn't recommend the free trial to the VIP enough, because the information we provide in there is so much more in depth. I mean, I think I'll do a decent job here, but information there is so much more in depth. And we try to let the education speak for itself, the content speak for itself. And those who have been in them, they have learned a lot more. And they are I would say a lot better off for it, at least from what I've heard from them and the praise that they've given me and the So yeah, I mean, if you want to find out about stuff again, you know where to find the links. And yeah, also on Twitter now. I mean, I've been on Twitter for a while, but I'm actually actively posting stuff now. So, might as well. We're lower than last October. I mean, yeah, we are lower than last October in Kaspa. that's pretty evident. But October has still started in a sense of that we are currently like $100 billion, $200 billion up in the total market cap. But last October, yes, we are down. This is October here. It's been a very, very tough year, almost year and a half now for Kaspa. It's been tough for pretty much all crypto projects. Of course, Kaspa started its correction from here, where most crypto projects started the correction from here. Kaspa had a little bit of a rally following Trump's election win. But every other project, every other project was basically doing this. Had a rally from Trump's election win and then came back down. Whereas Kaspa came down, had the relief, and then went down again. So, but still most projects are down, between 70% to 50% or so from that all-time high. As Kaspa is definitely struggling. I'm never going to disagree with that. The price is terrible, but I still think that Kaspa is just early and it's got more to come, and I'm going to hopefully showcase that in the stream right now. Any chance Kaspa still hits 50 bill market cap in November, December? Who knows, Enzo? I have not got a crystal ball. Nobody has any idea for sure. But there is something that I could hopefully say to incentivize some belief or confidence that it is possible. So to get some more sources right now, we know Bitcoin dominance is still quite high, 59%. And Nate Grassi here, who is the so-called ETF expert, he stated that once government shutdown ends, whenever that will be, who knows, still at a deadlock right now, but once it ends, spot crypto ETF floodgates will open. Now, all the 19 B-4s, whatever the hell they are, those filings are basically irrelevant now. It's all just S1s that matters right now. But because the SEC, being also a government agency, or an agency, they are also feeling the brunt of this government shutdown. They can't really approve, or they haven't got the manpower to approve the ETF filings. So basically when the government shutdown ends, they in theory should be able to actually approve the ETF filings that all these Wall Street institutions are wanting. And that would open a floodgate of ETF filings. You're seeing a lot being filed for XRP, for Solana, for Cardano, for Litecoin, for AVAX, HBAR. Pretty much all the major altcoins have had one. Kaspa, of course, does not. That might change in the future, but right now it does not have one. But Nick Grassi says here, it's ironic that growing fiscal debt and usual political theatre holding these up, exactly what crypto is targeting. And I'm saying here as well, knowing this, despite Bitcoin dominance still hovering around 59%, altcoin season could be a lot closer than we think, especially if ETFs are coming out. While Kaspa won't get an ETF, you start seeing institutional liquidity flowing into the other altcoins. You'll see the capital cycling and trickling out and rotating out of the bigger assets into the altcoins, or Bitcoin into the altcoins, and of course that will also help the other altcoins as well as a knock-on effect. This individual here, Bitcoin Isaiah said, gold is adding Bitcoin's entire market cap every month, and some people think it's created to 2x from here. So saying Bitcoin's going to end up reaching over 200k sounds excessive, but I guess the point could be made there. But then the counter argument also could be made here. Bitcoin is adding Kaspa's entire market cap every day, and some people think it's created to see a 10x from here. So therefore, seeing Kaspa reach 70 whatever cents. Again, it could do that. Maybe it goes up higher. Again, it's really tough to tell. It, for me, does depend on macro cycle and how long the cycle goes on for right now. Of course, this is a big part as well. But if people are still believing that the cycle is going to come to an end in 2-3 months, while I'm not so convinced right now, if it does do that, then Kaspa's possibility of reaching, euphoric numbers or $1, $2, whatever dollars, it's significantly diminished. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but it's a lot smaller. But one reason why this does still give me confidence is because of the capital rotation. We know Bitcoin maximalists have slowly but surely been looking more and more into Kaspa. And it's just a little fun ongoing thread chain going on right here now. But the truth of the matter being is, with Bitcoin maximalists slowly but surely looking more and more into Kaspa, price sucks, yes, but the technology has been recognized by Nick Szabo, by Da Vinci Jeremy, and by many other credible names in the space, Vitalik Buterin, Charles Hoskinson, and many other leaders. With the technology being recognized and even utilized in some aspect, Bitcoin maximalists are finally starting to actually recognize Kaspa as well. Those who take just a moment to actually research it have all been intrigued by it. Nick Szabo said it looks promising. That in itself is not endorsement, but it's reassuring that he's got Kaspa on his radar in some capacity. So knowing that, and knowing that more Bitcoin maxis are starting to look at Kaspa, there will be a rotation. Bitcoin maxis don't like anything else but Bitcoin. They won't get into anything else but Bitcoin. You might see some who are not as so aligned with the ethos of Bitcoin and so-called sound money. They might go to XRP and the other altcoins, but for the most part, it'll be Bitcoin till they die. Those who are actually truly aligned with the belief that it has to be decentralized, it has to be proof of work, they'll stay with Bitcoin. But someone can start coming to Kaspa as well. So you end up seeing a Kaspa rotation when it's coming through. And knowing that, that's also what makes this so important as well. Bitcoin masses coming into Kaspa is a possibility. You're seeing more and more happen increasingly day after day, week after week. And we are seeing some more interesting developments of Kaspa coming out as well. For example, Tom Polinsky recently created a new AI bot kind of personal experiment here. It's nothing crazy. It's kind of there to help spread more awareness and truth about what's being actually developed and built on Kaspa and the vision of Kaspa. Nothing too crazy about it. And for information, it's not going to therefore teach you about Kaspa. It will just keep you more informed. This bot shouldn't be utilized necessarily to teach you about Kaspa, but just to inform you what's going on in the ecosystem. Teaching should come from those who actually know what's going on in the space right now. Those who are probably more technical. I can inform you. If anything, I'm basically like an AI bot. I can inform you in regards to teaching. I can do my best, but when it comes to really, really technical questions, you're better off going to like Tom Polinsky or someone who's going to apply, probably like Michael Sussman or something like that, or code your stuff. But he made an AI bot. What's interesting about this, AI bot's been doing some posts already as it's designed to do so. I haven't looked through all of them, but this one I did see a couple of days back. And in the question to what's going on, any news, the bot replied, she replied, cores, so Kaspa cores deep in some heavy opening prep for Enshrine Layer 2s, the middle game is coming. This to me is a big deal for a number of reasons. One, because it means that, well, proving and confirming what I've been saying for a while, that Kaspa is still early. Not the end game is coming, the middle game is coming. So if you want to think about it in era terms, Kaspa right now is in the classical era. With the middle game coming, we're about to go into the medieval era, and then once that's done, you'll go to the early modern era and then a modern revolution, right? We're currently going towards the middle game for Kaspa. Now, in regard to what that is, I'd imagine it's referring to what Michael Sutton recently mentioned about other research and development updates. In short, DAGNITE is being worked on by some decoders, and initial implementation is already taking shape. They're already trying to implement DAGNITE and get it actually function and get some structure behind it, which is a very, very big deal. Furthermore, VPROG's not only a yellow paper, but also a Rust prototype is a work in progress. So we are seeing the so-called middle game, or even guess end game, or how you want to clarify, but the big blockbuster developments that will cause a paradigm shift in crypto and Kaspa are now actually starting to take some better shape, which is really big news. Now, of course, realistically speaking, it's still going to be, what, months? Who knows, maybe even a year? We have no timeline for this stuff right now, but it's going to take a long time for it to be implemented. The hard fork that will come with DAGNITE will take a long, long time. But the developments are coming through right now, which in itself is reassuring stuff. And we got this post here as well regarding the KRI, which I thought also was very interesting, considering that when it comes to DAGNITE in particular, that's the reason why the KRI was formed effectively, because they love Kaspa, they like the idea of it, and they like DAGNITE. That's the biggest reason for actually getting into Kaspa. Now, I have been seeing posts recently about people saying KRI are scams. I don't know where this is coming from. I've tried to find out, but apart from Kaspa Price being doing poorly, and therefore trying to find someone to pin the blame on, I don't see what the KRI has done to be labelled as a scam. They're a third-party enterprise corporation group of people who are trying to leverage Kaspa technology. They've given very little info regarding what's happening because they're not really needing to in there for enterprise clients, but that's what they're saying right now. I don't understand it, and I don't have any evidence of why they would be a scam, but I guess people will say what they want to say. Either way, here we've got this post here where the Deputy Prime Minister of Finance, seemingly in Dubai, has said, we approve the Dubai financial sector strategy during the meeting of the Higher Committee for the Development of the Economic and Financial Sector in Dubai. Along with its transformative projects, we also reviewed a key achievement of the Dubai financial market and the Dubai Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. Dubai currently stands as the world's single largest licensed virtual asset market, with more than 40 licensed virtual asset services providers and trading volume reaching AED of $2.5 trillion since the beginning of the year, which is a very big deal. This reflects the vision of His Highness's Mohammed, who issues the world's first law-regulating virtual asset 3 years ago to cement Dubai's leadership in future economic and financial sectors. So Dubai are making some very, very, very big steps towards regulations and kind of push forward regarding virtual assets, so crypto in that regard as well. And DRI replied to this saying, Dubai, a real beacon of innovation with global relevance, virtual asset, tokenization, crypto, block DAG, solar, energy, H2. Dubai is the place to be. That's why we are proud to steer our industry platform from Dubai, DRI, Kaspa Kai. And you can see here, Paul Van Sun says, I would add that Dubai could become a leading center for green power and carbon emission certification and trading. Kaspa could play a role. So we know that KRI have big roles and ideals for Kaspa. Seems right now their main focus is regarding the carbon emission and green power energy. So Kaspa tackling the other markets regarding warp core stuff is still very much in the works, but it looks like their KRI's main focus, at least right now, seem to more so be focusing on the green power and carbon emissions. And right now, Dubai seems to be the best market for them, which, I mean, we've seen 2.5 trillion, as we saw. 2.5 trillion AED. Pretty big stuff. Kaspa tapping into that market would be a very, very big deal. In another news real quickly, though, before I get some more questions, we've got this post here from Fresh Air, who is one of the, I would say quite a big part of Kaspa. His title here is Kaspa enthusiast, researcher, and developer. I know he's one of the devs for Kaspa, and he also is supported by the KEF. He has made a post here about a few words on what I'm researching with Wissam Polinsky in the last few days. They're researching a paper from 2017 from Zohar, which suggests an alternative fee mechanism for blockchains, and then talks about the intermission inclusive blockchains, and equally other stuff here as well. I mean, again, I don't want to bore people with me reading because my reading skills are not the best sometimes. So I'll definitely link this post down below, or more so in my free Discord community, I'll link it there. But the takeaway points, which I can summarize a lot easier, is it basically seems to be referring to this worry about the fee mechanism for Kaspa, about how miners are not making a lot of money when they're mining Kaspa right now, which is a valid concern. And the kind of final points regarding that is there is no fee mechanism change, as good as it may be, will replace the need for an increase in demand. So while people want to shift and alter the fee mechanism to make more money, which is a valid reason to do that, because of course if you do that, miners will be more inclined to mine Kaspa again to keep up with the security and whatnot. But the fundamental point is, if there's not adoption, there's no point of us changing the fee mechanism time and time again to cater to those who are going to mine it. If there's no adoption, it's not going to last long term. This effort should be in parallel to building new utilities to Kaspa, e.g. VPROG. So Fresh Air, along with some Polinsky, basically is just saying we could find a way to introduce a fee mechanism change that would benefit the miners right now. And I'm not saying that we don't want to, because it is a good idea, but ultimately the biggest concern should be, or our biggest focus should be, increasing demand to Kaspa. And the best way probably to do that would be to build utilities for Kaspa that would end up being a bigger driver for adoption, like VPROGs, which is basically like, they're not native smart contracts, but they're basically like native smart contracts. That would be a big deal. Of course, DAG might be a big factor as well. And the second point being is this is a midterm solution, and that's what I agree with. Changing the fee structure, I don't mind Kaspa, so my what's the word I'm looking for? My belief, my passion in regards to the necessity of this is probably not as strong as some other people's are, but the belief in changing the fee mechanism, while could be done, it is a midterm solution. Because again, if you think about the logic behind that, Kaspa mining is not profitable. You change it to make it more profitable, and they mine it. But if Kaspa does not end up increasing adoption, it's going to be a continual repeating of increased money paid out, but the project's going to still continue to fall off more and more. So instead of focusing all efforts on to cater the miners who are currently here, not saying that we don't focus on them at all, but instead of focusing all on that, you focus on making utilities that will actually be better off as well. And this midterm solution, but one long due to serious research, requires a hard fork. And that in itself is, hard forks, there are issues with them if they're done in a rush way, and I'd argue done too frequently. Hard forks are definitely a bit of a grey area. They are fine if they're done with a lot of research, a lot of due diligence done, and they're taking a long time to do it. But if they're done every single time, it just becomes an issue. There were suggestions from within the community for modifications, which could be instantaneous. The suggestion may not be long-term theoretically, but theoretically sound, but are often non-detrimental. So again, there's still kind of ongoing discussion. The summary of what the talk about it seems to be, we probably are not going to focus on it right now, because what we need to do really is increase adoption, which the way to do that is to make better utilities for Kaspa, like vprogs. But he did add here as well, fresh air, which I do agree with that. The great part about this is that it has been the community pushing for suggestions and solutions of their own, not just a small group of the Kaspa core thinking about what should be done. It's not a small group. It's been the whole community kind of thinking about how we should go about this, and that's kind of the conclusion that seems to become or derive from it. He also adds his criticism to Sompolinski's AI project, which is that, again, and it's what I said earlier, it should never make you smarter about crypto or Kaspa, and it can never do so than having discourse with a person. When someone's trying to speak to me about capital price being bad, is the Terra AI bot going to do a better job than me explaining it with my emotional, the way I emphasize my voice in certain manners, to add emphasis on certain words and to explain it in certain ways, that while AI bot could regurgitate that, is it going to teach you as much? AI is definitely smarter than me. I'm not saying it's not. Of course, AI can teach you things. It's been used a lot to teach people, but as Fresh S says here, never an AI bot never made me smarter about crypto the way discourse with real people has. So Sompolinski said that very well. The Terra AI bot is made not to make people smarter, but only more informed. So this bot, while really, really cool, don't take it as a learning tool. It's more so just a way to tell you what is currently going on within Kaspa, to keep you informed. So you're not really sure, you can ask that, or you keep tuning into the channel here, or if your Discord server, you can find that stuff out there as well. And the final update for Kaspa side of things, at the very least, we can see here, shout out to you, Andy A. Cheaper Kaspa on ramps with Mercurio. Kaspa, you can buy it with EUR, in Tangent using Apple Pay, Google Pay, or a card with fees as low as 1.4 to 1.5%. So that is a really good announcement coming from Tangent side of things. You can get hold of cheap Kaspa through Tangent. Of course, do so at your own risk. Not financial advice. You want to get Kaspa, you go for it. Otherwise, then you do what's right for you. But network and exchange fees are not included as well. So there will be a slightly additive fee to that. But that's just kind of the fees as low in regards to card as well. Now, I'm going to get to some other posts real quickly before I do that. Let's get some questions real quickly. We have it in here from Octoplus. You'll be able to buy 1 million Kaspa for $5,000 in a bigger bear market. Can't wait. I mean, that's in the premise that Kaspa just dropped down a lot lower in the bear market, which I'm not saying it's not possible. Again, no one has a true idea where Kaspa's going to go. And we don't know where the bear market's coming through either. Maybe it comes through in the next 3 weeks, next 3 months. Maybe it comes through a little bit longer from that as well. It's tough to say, but we will definitely. I mean, getting Kaspa, cheap Kaspa, is theoretically possible right now. I've only been at 6.5 cents, up 5.78%. It's currently doing quite very well today. Hopefully, it breaks above the 7 cents zone to break into this level of this downwards wedge again. If it goes down lower than that in the bear market, we have to wait and see. I mean, the bear market Kaspa price will depend on where it peaks this cycle. If it only peaks at like 20 cents, let's just say, then the bear market could definitely be, back to the prices at right now, if not a little bit lower. If it peaks anywhere higher than that, then if you think about a typical bear market being a 70% to 90% pullback, then how much Kaspa comes back down also change as well. The clowns on Discover Bit Crypto are talking about how Bitcoin maxis are selling Bitcoin for Zcash, but do not mention the same goes for Kaspa. Yeah, I mean, it's a narrative where they're going to handpick what they believe in, right? I had a recent, I showcased the post that had this recent, I guess, small back and forth, if you will, with some, was it Nero, whatever the project was. I know, wait, what was it? I sent it to Greg, because I was like, I don't want to deal with it. It was just tiring. It was Nano, XNO. And, again, people will, always try and say things to fit their own narrative. So people who are on Discover Crypto, talking about Zcash, I mean, yeah, it's fitting their narrative, but they're failing to mention that, again, you've got those who are titled in Bitcoin who are actually actively acknowledging Kaspa, and even some of them are buying it. The bigger names being DaVinci Jeremy. I actually had a post earlier from one of the notorious fraudsters on this channel, who always spreads hate on this channel and to me, saying that Kaspa is going to fail because of this short. It was a short from DaVinci Jeremy a year ago talking about the hard forks being a problem, which, if you think about 10 BPS hard fork, that was like a resounding success, so evidently that's not a problem. And even then, since then, DaVinci Jeremy has stated publicly that he has bought Kaspa. He's got a big bag of Kaspa. So, yeah, he's bought Kaspa. Again, Nick Szabo talking about Kaspa and Blockdagger being something that's got very good potential. It's equally a big deal. So, yeah, that's kind of tis on that. Welcome back, Wyatt, bro. You're doing very, very well. You know, the Bitcoiners are scared when all they could do after the crash was tweet about Kaspa. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's supporting their belief about how everything else besides Bitcoin is crap. They believe that everything aside from Bitcoin is crap, and Kaspa has been the only asset that's been able to really test their nerves about it. So after the crash, they're like, oh, proof, there you go. And that completely takes away again from this. So Bitcoin maxis are no longer doing this anymore, which is crazy to think, saying that this is what they were meant to be originally. People who are trying to, you know, become the next generation of financial market infrastructure. That's what Bitcoin is meant to be. That's not happening anymore. All they care about now is the price and how they're going to continue accumulating wealth because, you know, Bitcoin store value, which is fair. That's fine. You do as you will. But if you're arguing about a project being bad, it's always based on price. Again, I'm not trying to say price is not important. Price is important, evidently. We've just seen how it's important. Price is important. But if your argument is always going to be based on price, then you are literally feeding into distractions that are being put forward by market makers and by industry leaders. You know, there's actually a strategy for traders where they change what their market looks like from green and red candles to blue and yellow, because the emotional triggers that the color green and red have on you can be very, very bad. You know, think about a green traffic light, a red traffic light. Red means stop, green means go. The emotional triggers that these colors can have on you can affect you as a trader. That people actually change the colors of that. So the same thing can be said for numbers as well. The numbers can affect the way you think. The same reason why when everyone's like, oh, Kaspa's going up to new highs, I'm like, it's great. But at the same time, the reason why it probably is doing that, if anything, is because of the technology behind it. You know? When you see meme coins pumping to Valhalla or whatever, it's fantastic. But it's FOMO, because there's not really any utility behind these meme coins. It's not saying it's not bad. Like, again, people who've gone to Turbo, fantastic. You made a significant bag as you got in, you know, way back here, back in May 2024. There's nothing wrong with getting into making your gains. I mean, again, I'm holding other assets that are speculative because, well, they don't align with Kaspa's ethos and whatnot. And they even are, I mean, I've got into some, you know, leverage trading, some meme coins, but they're there for me to make gains. But those, again, I'm fully aware that what keeps these products up are FOMO and what the price looks like. But there are other assets that I'm in for more of a long-term play because I understand as well, based on institutional sentiment, that what matters is utility. But yeah, Bitcoin maxis are laughing at Kaspa because the price is bad. It's again just it's a true sentiment where Bitcoin mentality and maximalism has gone nowadays. You know, 2 cycles ago, it was about how Bitcoin was superior as an asset. And now you're looking at 8 years later, whatever it is, and now it's just price, and everything is bad compared to Bitcoin. Forgetting that right now, Bitcoin dominance is extremely high, so of course, everything's bad against Bitcoin. But it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. We will hit 15 cents very soon. I hope so. We moon yet, Wing Hong? Not yet, but we are looking good today. Or better today, at least. Yeah, you already mooned, you don't understand it. Yeah, I agree, man. Welcome back, Bees, bro. Hope you do very, very well. Good afternoon, future crypto millionaires, indeed. Who is Kaspa is in the moon already? I mean, Kaspa hopefully will moon soon enough, but, you know, in the future to be, if you're a time traveler, then Kaspa has already mooned, definitely. Diamond hands, 100% Wyatt. 100%. I was on a vacation last week and I spent more money DCing on Friday and Saturday than I did in my entire vacation. And yes, I had more Kaspa. Beeb, that is some conviction, brother. I actually love to hear that. What a fantastic story. You can't let a vacation get in the way of your bag. Great stuff, my man. Love to hear it. Unfortunately, nobody saw Friday's largest liquidation except for insiders, especially the huge short 30 minutes prior to Trump's tweet. Total mark, yeah, 100%. 100%. Nobody saw that. There were some who had some. I've been seeing some posts, which, I mean, I was also kind of in a similar mindset, and I had said so to my VRPs. There's always the possibility we go back down. Nobody predicted the black swan, that level of capitulation, but there were indicators that did signify a possibility of correction, being the government shutdown continued to leave a lot of unease in the market. Always rising of tariff concerns could be a thing, which did happen. Anything developing in Gaza again could be an issue. The policies happening in America, again, the delays could also add to that as well. And then the Fed. Those are the main 5. Actually, there's another one as well happened in Europe, which I told my VIPs about, that also drastically had an impact alongside Trump and how the market behaves. But yeah, unless you were an insider, again, that short being a key, they have made $192 million off that. Ridiculous. Disgusting. We are not only going to survive, but thrive. Dispute the orange man opening his mouth. Yes, we're not going to just survive, we're going to thrive, and we're going to soar to the moon. No, it's not. It's a terminology. It's a technical term utilized. I mean, you could argue that, but it's not. I mean, there is the term white swan, which does generally mean, I think, unforeseen event that goes up, which is good, and black swan means the negative thing. You can, I guess, choose it to be racist if you want it to be, but it's not racist. It's just a technical term that's been utilized. Now, to get to the last few posts real quickly, again, I mentioned about Zebek's doing quite well today. They made a new partnership here with Paybridge, with Payroll Finance to fuse real-time stablecoin payrolls with on-demand payroll lending, giving businesses instant liquidity and borderless payouts, which is a very, very big deal, unlocking seamless stablecoin payroll via Zebek into payroll loans to cover cash flow gaps and faster, smarter global payrolls for growing teams. So it's a very big deal for Zebek. And we'll see more partnerships coming through for them, I'm sure. Again, why I think Zebek's going to be a big asset this fourth quarter and this cycle. And in regards to other reward assets that I've mentioned and I spoke about in the recent video I made, Ondu Finance, I think it's going to be a very, very big one. They made this post recently about an event that's going to put them on the map and tokenization on the map, February 3rd, 2026. So maybe the cycle ends by then, we don't know. But next year, world leading executives, investors, and policy reconvene in New York for the Ondu Summit, which is pretty big. Pretty big stuff as well. And knowing that Ondu are so well connected to the Wall Street institutions and whatnot, what we're going to see in regards to the weekly earnings, again, I spoke about earlier, BlackRock, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo's, and so on and so forth. You know, a lot of these companies are partnered alongside Ondu. You know, these are among 100 companies and EFTs whose shares are tokenized on the Ondu global market platform. So this is a very big deal for Ondu. Again, why I think in regards to the assets in the space I mentioned in the video just gone, I think Kaspa, again, for me, is just the strongest asset in the space by an absolute mile. Its price is lacking, but I think it's very, very strong. I think Zebek is a very, very strong asset that will make big gains this cycle. Again, its future, I'm not so sure about, but I think Zebek in the cycle will do very, very well. It's got great... it's held up very, very well in that correction as well. And you are right, Beebs. They have got a cracking listing happening on Wednesday, on the 15th of October. And then Ondu, again, being the stronger, or being the biggest out of the three, also I think it's going to do very well. It's rallied quite strongly as well after the shutdown, after the crash, only down about 6% or so. And has some big things coming through as well. And there are many other assets and equally some other real world assets that I have mentioned. Again, I published a real world asset kind of blue slip or pink slip, whatever you want to call it, but a list of the assets that I think are the strongest reward assets and assets to look into for this next leg of the cycle, according to institutional sentiment. So if you want to find that sort of stuff out, again, see documents I'm talking about, and you see all the insights and information about the project and about, you know, a deep dive into it, then check out the VIP again, 7-day free trial. You get many other benefits in there as well. People who have been in there are quite happy. And again, if you don't want to fully commit, that's perfectly fine. We've got the free trial, so you can join for free, have a look around. If you like what you see, then you can learn a lot more. Or again, get an extra month for free, signing up to BYDFI, no KYC VPN, regulated exchange. Links down below in the description, and also on my homepage on YouTube as well. But there are many assets in the space that do very, very well. I just have I've highlighted a few that I think are going to do particularly well. So Beck, Ondu, being real assets are going to do very, very well. Kaspa, of course, being the strongest one. But some other ones I think also have a great shot in real world assets, in AI and whatnot, that I'll also be covering as the market develops and matures more and more as well. Ondu is a great player, I agree. I completely agree. I don't care about Tobacco or others, only Kaspa I care about, and that's fine. Again, that's perfectly fine. Kaspa is my main conviction. I talk about it the most. But again, I'm not quick Kaspa, I'm quick Kaspa, I'm quick crypto. So I do talk about other stuff occasionally. I'm trying to branch into that a little bit more so right now. But Kaspa's my biggest conviction, so that's not going to change in that regard. But that being said, family, thank you all for tuning in once more. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. Again, check out more of the VIP content and whatnot, and the BYDFI, the affiliate links and whatnot, all down below in the description. Or equally, check out the free Discord server, no strings attached, which are all linked to my homepage right here and down in the description as well. Tune in and chill chat and learn more about crypto and Kaspa. But if you enjoyed, again, leave a like. That being said, have a great day, good evening, and good night. And I will see you all in the next one. Take care now.